You're watching W.Media, and we are coming to you from the Chennai Cloud and Data Center Convention. Joining us now is a very special guest, Mr. C.V. Velayuthan. Sir, welcome to W.Media. And I'm going to straight up ask you, earlier today you said you came from the gym, which means you're a fitness enthusiast. What is your assessment of the fitness of the Indian data center industry? How have you seen it evolve? Are we fit or are we still getting there? Are we struggling on the treadmill? What's going on?
Hey, firstly, Deborah, thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate you and W.Media taking the time to talk to us. We in Digital Connection are very excited for just what's happening in India, what's happening with us coming in. We are a 4-month-old company, though we are actually over 2 years here in the country, and we'd like to believe we are over 20 years old globally because of the partners who we have, which are Brookfield, Reliance Jio, and Digital Realty, all three leaders in their own rights globally. Talking about the fitness, I must confess I have a long way. It's a journey in my fitness, so it's no corollary there. But I think not just from a fitness, but getting into shape and also looking at the future of where we are in this country. I think we're not really on a treadmill, which is about running 100 miles an hour to stand in the same place. On the contrary, we are actually out there actually doing a marathon, if you want to kind of call it that. We can see the future. We can see in a distance about the entire road that's there for us to kind of take on in this country. And it's a unique time. It's a unique time for us to be able to kind of navigate through and run through what I think is probably a momentous time in this country. And we in Digital Connection and me too are very excited to be part of that.
Now, speaking of India, we have this goal 2047, 100 years from independence. We want to become a developed economy. We have gone on with that narrative of being a developing economy for a very long time. How do you see data centers and the cloud and AI and all of this technological boom that's taking place? What kind of a role do you see the industry playing in bringing that dream to reality?
Oh, fascinating question, and it's incredible that we can even imagine that. What's something that you would think is impossible to think of us becoming a developed country or India becoming a developed country in a way. The way I'd put that in with the context of data and data centers is that the last 2 decades have been the decade of the mobile. We've had this incredible investment in here of covering the country and with some of the latest technologies in the mobile space, and as a country and the world can see the benefit of all that we've all been able to kind of get in here. I mean, I see it here. Just what you can do with your mobile phone here is unparalleled. And I think is globally leading in some of the features that you have, whether it's mobile payments or any of the UPI elements that you have. So it's the last 2 decades have been about the mobile. I think the next 2 decades are going to be for data and data centers. So because of that data center. So I also think that's kind of also the next 2 decades kind of coincides nicely with the 2047 kind of a number a year that you looked at to see where it is. So the not just the focus, but now with our evolution and our recognition of digitization becoming such an integral part of everybody's lives and of the country, we are now seeing the fact that the enormous data that's being generated. For example, I think India generates probably 20% of the global data that's around, and we only have 3% of the data center capacity. So the runway, this is exactly why I call this a marathon, is that we have a runway that's really long ahead of us to be able to kind of cater to this demand that we have, and to be able to be part of this and be part of not just catering to this domestic demand. We also have this unique time where we have an opportunity to be able to become the data center hub, if you may, for global players that want to actually use India as a hub to be able to drive a lot of their applications that they want. So it's an interesting time here.
Let's now move to Chennai, where we are holding this convention. What makes this an exciting market? What draws you to Chennai?
What draws me for is just personally, I'm connected. I'm excited to be back here in Chennai because this is where I started my career from, and so excited always to kind of having been all over the world to come back in and to come to Chennai. And also for digital connection, our first data center is in Chennai, so it's just doubly gratifying in lots of sense. Apart from the personal element, we chose Chennai for us to be our hub for our first data center because Chennai is the home to some of the largest subsea cables out here that come in from Asia, South Asia, and also from Europe. And that, after Mumbai, this is the second city that has the highest number of subsea cables coming in. And added to that, Tamil Nadu and Chennai becoming a center of manufacturing, automobile, electronics, and other industries as a hub for it, provides an incredible opportunity for the digitization to land up, getting that to be a home. Chennai, after Mumbai, has the highest number of data center, the highest capacity of data center in the country, and we believe it's a unique place for us to start our journey in the country, to start with Chennai, because we cater to our data center solutions with our JV providers, partners that we have. We cater to all the hyperscalers and to a large number of the global enterprises that by the benefit of us having Digital Realty and Brookfield as our stakeholders, we are able to we already service and cater to a large number of global enterprises, and we probably are the largest capacity provider for all the hyperscalers. So for us to be able to be here and leverage the advantages that we have from our partners and be able to drive it here, and combine that with Reliance's strong presence in the country and their depth with the enterprise, the local enterprise market, I think provides a powerful combination that we want to be able to leverage. And Chennai is absolutely kind of right there in the, comes in and ticks all these boxes for us to be able to start it. I must say also, since we kind of came into Chennai over the last year and a half or two, while we started building our data center, we are very, very impressed and thankful with the government of Tamil Nadu. They have been more than welcoming. They've been very supportive and encouraging of us being able to be here in Chennai out here with our data center. So our heartfelt thanks to the government and all the authorities that have actually helped us in our journey for us to be able to actually have this data center launched here in Tamil Nadu.
Perfect. Let's now move on to emerging markets. I mean, we always talk about India in terms of the established markets, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore to an extent, even Noida and Delhi. But what are some of the other markets you have your eye on?
Yeah, we right now have our data center here in Chennai, and we actually announced our next data center that's coming up in Mumbai. We are just excited for both of them, and we think we are right now, we have got the right solution at the right time for the right customer set to be able to cater to in both these cities. And so we are upbeat about our opportunity that we have in these markets right now out there. India as a country, I think has, and we talked about the runway that we have, and the fact that it's on an inflection point towards it being a developed country and the capacity need that we need. There were reports that we are actually reaching a gigawatt of capacity in India right now, which is a great milestone for our country to reach. We are also going to be the largest data center capacity in Asia. We are going over the next year. We're going to be adding more capacity in India than in any other country in Asia. So India has got incredible opportunity, and it's not just in these main cities, but it will actually kind of come down into the rest of the country too. But I must confess there though, I think the focus for the entire data center industry is to be able to take benefit of the infrastructure that is provided in these main cities and be able to kind of take that in and be able to use that to build the data center capacity first, because there's still so much runway and so much latent demand that we need to cater to. And so I think our focus is going to be able to drive on these cities, and I think that's what the whole data center industry is looking at, to be able to leverage what we have right now and look at that. While the tier 2 and other cities will be relevant, but I guess it'll be let's call it phase 2, phase 3 time frames that they'll end up becoming more relevant. I think there's more to be done in the cities right now and be able to take advantage of everything that's there now.
There's a lot to be done, especially now that AI has exploded. AI, ML, IoT, there are all these multiple emerging technologies coming up. Do we really know right now what we can do with them? Are we still figuring it out? The pressure it's going to put on the industry, because we're, as it is, playing a catch-up game. Where do you see this going with AI?
You know, that's a great question. I think we're playing a catch-up game from a capacity perspective to just cater to what we think is the demand that we already have. I believe with AI and ML and all these new technologies that are actually coming in now, and they're just coming in even in around the world.
True.
Let's take US for example.
True.
There's just been a year and a half that they're all kind of coming in into it. So I don't see this as much as a challenge as much as I see it as an opportunity. So we are right now, when the entire world is actually going through this transition of technology and trying to grapple and cater to figure out how to do that globally, we have an opportunity to also come in and join that and be almost at par with the other countries, if you may, and other places to be able to cater to the demand. So in a way, we're actually not just trying to do a catch up, but we're going to be on par with them as everybody's going into these new technologies. And we are excited on that, Deborah, because our partner Digital Realty is actually leading in terms of AI technologies in the data center space. They've launched multiple solutions to be able to cater to AI and also doing a lot of the deployments globally. And that's something that we have taken on. And our data center in Chennai, we would like to believe is one of the only data centers currently now which is actually built to the NVIDIA specs for AI. And so that's something that we're excited to be able to offer to and work with the Indian customers and global customers as we kind of start deploying AI in the country.
But AI and all these emerging technologies, they also require a lot of upskilling, in fact, even reskilling of the labor force. And that is another challenge that the industry as a whole is facing, which is the skills gap. How do you propose we should go about trying to reduce that gap?
Oh, well, it's a great question. These are such new technologies. And again, I come back to my previous point where I think India has got an incredible opportunity to be able to be on par with, we've got some of the most advanced skilled people around resources, and that was already proved when we were going through the whole cloud journey, where India was a great hub for the IT innovations that happened to be able to drive the cloud digital transformation. In AI, I think while the rest of the world is also upskilling and trying to kind of catch up with that, we have an opportunity to be on par with them. And some of the the talent that we have and that we are seeing around in this country, I think is not just capable but actually very, very equipped to be able to take this on. And with India now becoming a home for data capacity and in the data centers, this would then become something that the Indian workforce and our talent will have very close access to, that they can leverage and be able to use it. So we are not just dependent on companies outside the country to be able to develop that, but we can actually get access to that right now because our AI journey is happening almost parallel to the rest of the world. So I think again this is an area that I think India needs to take on head on and show that we can actually get onto a leadership position here.
Another big challenge is posed by the whole sustainability goals that we are talking about. It's a big buzzword, but at some point we have to move past, the PR stunts and the passion statements and move and actually walk the talk. How challenging is it to walk the talk on sustainability? And on a slightly controversial note, is PUE really relevant anymore? Is it time to retire that concept? What is a more holistic approach to sustainability in your opinion?
I want to say, while there is a lot of buzz around on sustainability, I want to be also cognizant of the fact that I think there's a genuine recognition and an effort that's going on in India, as much as it is globally, to realize that for the capacity that we need to build right now, we need to build it responsibly. And I think that recognition is very apparent, is very kind of right there in front and center across. So which is very heartening, because I think as an industry we also not just want to make it efficient, but we also have a responsibility towards how we're making it sustainable. I mean, everything that the data center industry does consume a lot of power. Exactly. So it's about how do you keep that sustainable, how do you use renewable energy, and how do you drive that and work towards the whole decarbonization efforts. We are actually, much as we would think about this as as buzzwords, we actually come a long way. And sometimes it gets lost in the din because there's a lot of more conversation and people are not able to take to the next level and see what's the action that's happened. I would argue that we're actually there's a lot that's happened that probably needs to be talked more about. For example, all the data centers of digital realty globally in Europe and in America are all powered by renewable energy. Brookfield, which is another partner of ours, which operates over 500 megawatt of data center capacity globally, has renewable as a big strategic element of how they actually build their data centers. In India, for example, Brookfield has over 20 gigawatt of renewable energy that's actually being in various forms. That's actually already in the inception to actually execution that's going on. Reliance, who's another partner of ours, has renewable energy as a separate vertical and putting an incredible amount of investment and effort into that. So we in Digital Connexion, get to see the benefit and to be able to take the benefit of all our three partners. And we are very conscious of the fact that we want to build data centers that are actually positively accretive to our environment, to the community, to the earth as we speak. And so renewable energy is a very, very big part of what we do. And we are excited to be able to take in renewable energy from our shareholders that's already available and power up our data center in Chennai and also in Mumbai as we go forward. So while there's a lot of conversation and people can actually think that it's a little bit of a buzzword, actually if you just scratch the surface, there's a lot of work going on and there is tangible activity that's going on, which is very appreciable. And I think we all need to be able to talk about that. We've got to talk about it much more. And to your point around PUE, PUE is as it's as an expansion of that is a power utility effectiveness, which is about, for those who don't know, it's about how much power that you're actually drawing in compared to how much you're using for powering up your equipment in it. And obviously you want to make that the draw capacity to what you're using to be less, to be actually equal to it so that there's not a lot of wastage in it. But theoretically you need to be able to have the cooling and other things to be able to drive those. So you will need some more than what just the servers are using. But the intent would be to be able to use technology that can actually make it so efficient that you then land up having to not use as much as you can. PUE is a great measure that we've got to be able to still adopt and be able to use that because it actually gives us one way to measure how efficient your data center is and also make it comparable and see how do you want to kind of drive that. And so that's a measure that I don't see leaving or us going away from for a long time. And in fact, I would encourage us to use that more and talk about it more so that even enterprises can kind of understand how their cost of operations are going to be over the long term, because it's an important part of the cost is all about the power and the efficiency there, and also for them to be able to benchmark how effective a data center is. And we in Digital Connexion, of course, are very proud that our data center here has probably got some of the best PUEs in the country, and we are at industry leading. I mean, I think it's more than I don't think it's about a goal. It's about how do you just keep constantly improving it, because there are various factors, including load, utilization, the kind of power environments that you have, about the density of your racks and the designs that you're using, the cooling you're using. So there is no one kind of a target. It's about how do you keep constantly improving it so that it can cater to what we have. We, for example, are introducing some of the latest cooling technologies, whether it's liquid cooling and or rear door heat exchange, these acronyms which are incredibly useful to be able to improve the efficiency of our data centers. So these are all technologies that we're using in our data center, again with the intent to be able to cater to some of the high density loads that AI and other new technologies would require, but equally to be able to make it more efficient to operate. And when you make it more efficient, it means you're using less power, less wastage, and so it's just better benefits for our end customers, and it's good for the environment. So yeah, all of these make us I feel like and actually excited about the fact that we coming as Digital Connection into the country now is probably at the right time, because India is going through a transformation, and we as an organization are able to bring in the best of the technology that all our shareholders have into this country, and to be able to use that to be able to work in the service of our customers.
Perfect. Final question, sir. You were our panelist in our very first panel discussion. What has been your experience at Chennai CDC, and what draws you to CDC?
I think we were talking about it earlier. I'm actually impressed that W.Media actually has an event like this, which is actually about cloud and data centers, which is interesting because there have been others that you just focus only on a data center and or on a cloud. But I think it's important to look at it holistically, because it's a whole. They both are interlinked very much. Data centers are an enabler or a platform for cloud and other applications to work on. And so when we have these conversations, it's important that we look at what's the end use for what we're trying to do, and then what are you building, and what kind of data centers, how are you kind of building that together on it. So I'm actually very impressed that we have a session or this event that you've got here today, which is about cloud and data centers. So I'm thankful to W.Media for having recognized that and enabling these conversations to happen. And Chennai, again, we have a vested interest in Chennai with our data center here. But even otherwise, I think Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and the whole of the South region is going to be an area which is going to see this big boom in digitization efforts. And because of that, in just data centers that are needed to be required for catering to that. And so I think it's the right time and the right event for us to be able to have these dialogues with the industry here. So again, thankful to W.Media for that.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Deborah, thank you very much too. Thank you. Appreciate this.
Thank you.